Welcome to Reading Exercise Everyday. Today's chapter is Collector's Code and Fossils. Each fossil presents a unique challenge for those tasked with removing it from the site and transporting it back to the workroom. Not least, some fossils are extremely heavy, as when digging up specimens, moving fossils could potentially disturb the local environment and should be conducted with great care. Paleontology and geological associations offer codes of behavior when fossil hunting. These are based on respect for the countryside and its inhabitants, as well as the need for caution and safety. Field Collectors Code. Obey the country code and observe local bylaws. Remember to shut gates and leave no litter. Always seek permission before entering into private land. Don't interfere with machinery. Don't litter fields or roads with rock fragments that could injure animals or be a hazard to people or vehicles. Avoid disturbing wildlife. On coastal section, check tides or local hazards such as unstable cliffs, if necessary, with the Coast Guard. In mountains or remote areas, follow advice given to mountaineers and trekkers. In particular, inform someone of where you are going and when you due back. Don't go alone. Do not venture underground except with expert help. Never take risk on a cliff or rock faces. Take care not to dislodge rock, others may be below. Be constrained and do not leave hazard or danger for those who come after you. Great weight. Most fossils are solid rocks, so they are heavy. A hand-sized specimen is already considerable weight to carry, especially when tracking on foot. A dinosaur leg bone may weigh several tons, so it's vital to be realistic about what can be transported back from a collecting trip. Much depends on whether vehicles can get near to the dig site. If not, it's best to budget for 2 or 3 trips on foot from the site back to the car or truck, carrying a set of specimens each time. Although you may be tempted to try and save time if you try to carry lots of heavy specimens in one journey, you risk breaking them for yourself. Fragile fossils. Sometimes fossils start to crack or crumble as they are being excavated. The first response is it worth continuing? Is the specimen valuable enough to warrant extra time and care? Perhaps there's another one nearby which is tougher and easier to remove. If not, then a weak or fragile specimen can be stabilized and protected in various ways. For example, by spray on or brush on adhesive stabilizing compound, DIY spray glue, or purpose-made chemicals used by masonry restorers. This must be allowed to dry set so schedule time into the day to carry out other tasks during this period. Jackets. A large specimen that might crack or shatter can be protected and strengthened by jacketing. There are several common methods, usually involving plaster bandaging or some type of glass fiber, resin or compound. One of the simplest ways is to use sheet of materials or first aid bandages, ordinary plaster pairs. An alternative is ready-made plaster impregnated bandages as used to encase broken limbs, which simply need moistening. Wrap and smooth the jacket over the fossil and beyond and allow plenty of time for it to set before chipping the whole section free of the surrounding rock. Wraps and containers. Each fossil should be put in a separate plastic bag. Small, transparent freezer bag used for food are ideal. Tune off a piece of paper, write on the fossil's initial identification as coded into your main notebook and include this in the bag too. Smaller fossils can be put into rigid plastic boxes but pad them to avoid rubbing and chipping. If there are no padding materials such as newspaper available, some dry vegetation like old leaves or grass stems will suffice. Below, unevenly or largely absent roads and a shortage of road signs to indicate the direction of travel are just two of the challenges that might confront a team of paleontologists transporting fossils from remote locations. Maps and grids. On larger sites, when many fossils are preserved together, it's important to know their position in relation to each other. This can help to reconstruct how the original organism died and were preserved. Sometimes the site is covered by a grid of strings or wires set at regular intervals, such as 1 meter. Then the position and orientation of each fossil can be measured and plotted. This process continues with the excavation so that the depth of a specimen is also known in order to complete a three-dimensional location. This excavation of dinosaur bones in Nigeria illustrate how paleontologists may be compelled to work within a tight, clearly defined space, even when tackling the largest of creatures. The grid marker helps excavators to record the position of each part of the fossils. Above, excavation of large dinosaur skeleton at Dinosaurs Monument, Utah, Colorado, USA. As different sections of the specimens are uncovered, it's vital that the findings of each part are carefully recorded to reconstruct accurately the creature's dimensions. Makes sense. See this one. Here you can see a rough shape can be estimated from the way it's been dug up. So it's necessary that they make a record of where it was, where its limb was, the head, or probably the paws and the tail, how much distance it was, because that might be the case that in between those links might be missing, and once you have dug up those and collected all those bones and fossils and you are into your lab, you might not be able to ever know the actual dimension. It leaves a lot to your imagination. So it's a lot of hard work as well as careful noting of the information at the site. It's not random, it takes a considerable period of time. That's fossil taking for you today. That's all for today. All the best.